So this is an opportunity to talk about hormonal changes and how they have an impact on the voice. So there's a really interesting book called Singing Through Change, which kind of goes into this subject in much greater detail. But yeah, so just interesting to note shifts in pitch, in one's feeling of how much stamina one feels they have or experience when premenstrual and menstruating. So thickening of and swelling of the vocal folds, and also thickening of mucus that coats the vocal folds as well. So I've had quite a lot of vocal load in the last few days just through speech, and I'm feeling that particularly because of the phase I'm in for my cycle. So it's just like also being aware of that additional vulnerability for potential vocal injury during those times, so that one can take discerning steps to supporting good vocal hygiene. So like, yeah, ironically, the shifts during those cycles, you might hear women talking about shifts in creativity and inspiration as well. So often that kind of premenstrual and menstruation phase can be like a really, really rich creative space to be exploring and swimming in, but the actual capacity for sustained, prolonged, like high full power vocalization will be different and will be experienced differently. And also because of the cyclical nature of the female body and the maturation process, 1 month may look different to the next. So it's just to mention it and to highlight it, because it's definitely something within like the popular music discourse or within like non-professional voice use context is not really, it's not really part of the discourse, or there's, for sure that will be in part related still due to the kind of the taboo and the stigma about, talking freely about this like crucial point of change in women's cycles. So I just kind of felt like, well, I am riding that wave right now, so like what better time to like actually be able to reflect on it with some accuracy as to like, my experiences, and just kind of note that is, as my awareness has been drawn more towards that because of like a vocal health first aid qualification, but also just because, the older one gets, the likely conclusion is that we start to, develop a greater understanding of our patterns and our habits in our like creative life, but also in our systems and our bodies, and how they are, unique to us, but that there are certainly patterns that do consistently show up commonly for many people, and that actually it's really, really helpful to like be able to talk about those with other people and compare notes and say like, how does this show up for you, or do you have any tools or techniques that kind of support you when you're in this particular phase. So I know like over the next week I will be actively focusing on more hydration, more systemic hydration through like which foods I'm consuming, how much water I'm drinking, trying to reduce or probably this week I'll probably cut out alcohol altogether, because that is dehydrating ultimately. Try and reduce caffeine as much as I can, just from the systemic hydration point of view. And also probably feeling like more inclined to do a bit more work with straw phonation exercises, because I'm feeling tired, and where possible remembering to steam as well. So using like a steam inhalation device that I have, which is basically made from ceramic, but there are loads of different ones out there. I really want to get one that is made from or it's more like it's like an electronic device basically that you charge up, and you fill it with like a low saline solution. So low strength is the word I was looking for. So yeah, it's just, you know, I feel compelled to like be vocalizing this morning, and I really feel like in a sort of creative space, but I know that I'm best placed right now to actually take some vocal rest, at least until later in the day, because I know that like generally speaking my system is more sluggish right now, which means like if we're thinking about voice from the perspective of like whole body, I know that my best energy is not going to be probably until mid-afternoon, until I've actually woken up a little bit, until I've got going, got my circulation going, got the cardiovascular system going by like having a walk. And then like when it comes to sort of early evening, as well, like because it's going to take a few hours for me to like hydrate sufficiently, that by that point you know, the creative wave might not be so strong, but at least I know I will be best placed to explore any ideas I have in a kind of performative sense, because I've given myself that little bit of voice care just by, you know, an awareness, by like tracking things, by like understanding like what are my battery levels like with my voice, versus, you know, what I want to do, how much battery I need for that, how much battery I have, and what I need to do to kind of bring that up to a level that will support me to be able to do what I want to do. So yeah, I just saw the opportunity to share that personal reflection, and as far as like more information on that subject goes, vocal health education is a really good place to start. And in terms of more discussion around voice use, creative practice, all those kind of things woven into that, this is just a reminder, go over to my business page, True Voice Creations, which is all content related to holistic voice work as a tool for personal development with therapeutic benefit to support confidence, well-being and creativity. So this is your gentle reminder to head over there. And this is my accountability check-in to now be having some vocal rest for a few hours whilst I recover from being a chatty Cathy for like 2 days straight.